like 4:30 in the morning. So we're going to get up, get this done, and yeah, see what we get for an audience in here this morning. So I am down to 210. I've been there 2 days now. Yesterday I was hoping I'd go even lower. Of course, checked the scale just now. I'm up a little bit, but that's okay because we hit a low for 2 days. I was hoping to go under 210 on that swoosh, but I didn't. So I was like, I stepped on the scale at 210.0. Like, let me see if I can go to the bathroom, right? And I did, and it still didn't go down. So it's just kind of funny. We can be funny with those things, but again, I'm not going to stress it. Added a little more healthy fat back into the diet, so just some avocados and almond butter. Actually, that might have helped. Just gets inflammation down a little bit. And that's its own topic too. You know, as much as I do think there's a lot of merit to really low-fat diets, I don't know if they're always optimal for recovery either, or inflammation control. Because we do want the healthy fats. I think the problem, though, that's its own set of nuance when it comes to nutrition. You know, you have all the people on the crazy keto end, when we start talking healthy fats, they hate healthy fats and they try to push saturated fat. And saturated fat doesn't really have benefits for us. I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the world. In moderation, it's okay, but it doesn't do anything for you beneficial. All right, there's not a positive impact. Whereas in a lot of our polyunsaturated and in some MUFAs literally do have health benefits. They do lower inflammation, whereas in saturated fat increases it. They improve insulin sensitivity. So, you know, that's a lot of it too. And that can even help with, you know, the weight losses, whooshes, because again, there's going to be some inflammation and cortisol causing water retention. When we've been in a deficit for a bit and scale's not going down, right? It's just water retention. But there's inflammation and inflammatory hormones involved. So I almost feel like, yeah, and I used to disagree with this, but the longer I've done this over the years, the more I do tend to agree with guys like Dulce, really, who are saying this. I've heard him say this, you know, usually want, so if you put it in pounds, because I hate having to do kilos back and forth, you know, we really want something around 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight, right? Probably around 0.4, I was going to say 0.3, probably about 0.4 grams of healthy fat, right? Of healthy fat. So again, if you're looking for all your antioxidant and vitamin absorption and inflammatory control, so you want about that per pound of body weight. And everything else you should fill with clean, healthy carbohydrates, right? I mean, you could go higher on the other stuff, but I mean, if we're just going to talk about, you know, optimizing training and everything, carbohydrates are a big deal. I'm not saying you couldn't fill most of that with the healthy fats too. But so I think those are good baseline numbers. I used to kind of say that same thing when I first started. It's funny how we come around, right? I used to say something very similar to that 12 years ago. And we kind of come around full circle. You know, I think the difference here too, a lot of my training, even though I do a lot of stuff different as a coach, even a lot of my training right now, as I'm doing this cut, has come back around full circle to early Blaha. I'm doing full body 3 days a week. You use your muscle-less cardio to burn body fat, and those nutrition recommendations you're getting similar. It's just that I'm telling people not to bulk, stay lean. Hey bro, God is love. I am a Christian, but I do not allow discussion of non-fitness topics in my lives. Okay, just an FYI. And I've told people that we stay on topic. This is a strength and fitness. So again, it's disruptive to my what we talk about here. We don't do religion. We don't do politics. We don't do social issues. This is a strength and fitness stream. We definitely don't discuss pew-pews, even though I carry. So Just an FYI, bro. I'm not angry at you. Just saying this is, we stay on topic. I don't do any off-topic conversation here anymore. It's one of my stream rules. However, I do happen to agree with you. But if we could please stay on topic, assuming you're not a bot doing this. All right. But, all right, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it, brother. But I do happen to think you're right. So let's get back over to the point on the nutrition end. Yeah, so I do find myself kind of noting that, and like I oftentimes really think ultra low fat can be super helpful for burning through body fat. Setting aside the Okinawans, even if you look at patterns in eating. So for example, right, Mediterranean diet also noted for long-lived, pretty much almost tied with the Okinawan for the longest lifespan as far as cultural diets go. Kind of falls in that category, doesn't it? Right, there's an appreciable amount of lean animal protein, right? There's also moderately high in healthy fats. Again, a lot of it based around olives and extra virgin olive oil. So a lot of MUFAs with a fair amount of PUFAs, and then starchy carbohydrate and fruits and things. I mean, so that eating pattern matches that really, really well. So to put in context, just a lot of people on here don't follow all my social media where I put all my groceries and my food. So let me put in context what that would mean. Because I put all my meals and my grocery shopping on this cut, or put on Facebook and Instagram. So context for the food though. So for me, for breakfast, because I do fasting, I break my fast. I ate breakfast around 12:15, 12:10, something yesterday. So just after noon. I had a small amount of chicken breast. I had brown rice, sweet potatoes, and broccoli all cooked in an Instapot. All right. With a little bit of potassium, salt, and soy sauce. And then I diced up a couple of small avocados on top of it. All right. Keep in mind, I'm cutting on like 3,000 plus calories here. So, because the amount of cardio I do and my muscle mass, I get away with it. And then for my next meal, I had just fat-free Greek yogurt with almond butter mixed in, and I threw my creatine for the day in that. And I think about that time I took my multivitamin and my extra strength fish oil. And then my final meal was brown rice, sweet potato. I think I might have skipped throwing the extra broccoli in. Might have been a small amount, a little bit of chicken breast. And then I put some salsa on it. I was taking EAS supplement recently. Essential amino acid supplements are inferior to complete proteins. That's just an FYI, Andreas. Free-form aminos, including even essential amino acids, so you're taking the 8 essential ones there in just powder form, do not increase muscle protein synthesis on a one-for-one basis as much as just whey protein does in the studies, or any whole, complete animal, like any high-quality animal protein source. So they're a scam. They have a good, I'm not saying an intentional scam. I'm saying a lot of us understand it. It's a concept, it's a nice theory, right? It's like, oh, well, so we don't need them. Let's just load up on the essential ones. Well, it turns out it still doesn't give you the perfect ratios. It still is not going to be as anabolic to muscle tissue as just normal protein. Gram for gram, that's what we find in terms of the response and the nitrogen retention in studies. So you're paying more money for less benefit, And then we kind of come back to, look, I like a protein powder sometimes too, occasional protein shake in my stuff. I don't recommend you supplement zinc separately. Man, you're falling for all the hustles, dude. You got to step away from the supplement industry. Right? You're falling for all the scams, dude. Coach, do you do fasted cardio and lifting? Yes, obviously. Or is it the fasted cardio and the AM only? No. So that 2 hours I did yesterday, unbelievable, was done fasted. So I didn't eat till like 12:10 or so. I didn't eat until afternoon. And I did 2 hours of cardio after training fasted. So I do all of it fasted. I'm not saying I'm not occasionally taking a smaller walk later, but yeah, it's fasted. So yes, I do a 2 hour workout, like full body workout with squats and deadlifts to failure. Then we do like 2 hours of cardio, then I eat breakfast. You do fasted cardio. No, I don't. You never, ever, ever, ever do cardio before lifting. Stop. Who told you to do that? I never told anyone in my entire life to do cardio before lifting. Absolutely not. I don't want you to put words in my mouth because people are going to think I endorse what you just said. Now, let me make that extremely clear. I will never, ever program or endorse cardio before lifting. Ever. Make sense? No. How about this? No. Okay, let me start this over. All right. I got up and started lifting weights at 5:30 in the morning yesterday. Okay, you ready? Right? We lifted weights. It's like a 2 hour workout. I take a break, drink some coffee for a minute, then I go do my first hour of cardio. This is not a lifting day. That's why I'm out here at 4:30. I'm not training today. So I want to be clear on that. I do not want anyone to ever think I have ever in my life done cardio before lifting or programmed it for anyone. I completely oppose that. I 100% oppose that concept. Like, religiously. All right, good morning, feed me. Are you cutting up, bulking? I'm never gonna bulk again, there's no point. I'm cutting, I'm doing a really long, hard cut, pretty much. So I'm down 17 pounds into my cut. I'm gonna probably drop another 20. I figured you were out this early. Yeah, if I'm out this early, it is, well, a rest day. Let's call it a non-training day. On training days, do you lift before? Alan. Okay. Alan, I feel like you didn't listen. I don't do 5 a.m. cardio on training days. Yeah, I'm at 210. I hit 210.0. So if I'm working out at 5:30 in the morning, how could I be out doing 5 a.m. cardio? That doesn't make any sense. So like there's a math problem here. I don't have a time machine. So Peppermint, what's up, Coach? What's up, Peppermint? Yeah, we're always up this early now on a lot of the non-lifting days. I'm out here trying to be out here at 4:30, getting that first walk in. So let me reiterate for the people who keep missing it. Do I need to make a giant community post to avoid confusion? I see you stream cardio every day. No, well, no, you see me stream cardio 4 times a week this early. I lift 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Today is not Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, right? So we up early doing cardio. Non-lifting days rather every day. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess we have to call it a training day, right? Sorry, I gotta adjust these keys. They're jingling around. Yeah, so we lift Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we do cardio after. We get up and we start cardio before sun up on non-lifting days. Yeah, but some of the other people haven't caught the schedule right now. It's okay. But I do need to reiterate that point. We do not do cardio before lifting. I don't believe in warming up before lifting. I don't believe in any of that stuff. Your warm-ups for lifting is to lift lighter weights. That's it. The only easy day was yesterday. What? Yeah. You're talking about all days are easy days, man. The training is not hard. People need to get over this idea. All right. All training is easy. Doing 3 sets of squats to failure and getting stapled to the pins, taking the plates off and re-putting the bar up and reloading the plates between every set is not hard. People need to lose this idea that training is some difficult Herculean effort. Cardio before weights is asking to not gain muscle. You're losing resources that you need to train. So you just get in and train. All right, you don't need a general warm-up before you lift weights. You need to, you might need a little mobility or dynamic stuff. Like, I usually do a dead hang before because I can't get under the squat bar otherwise. I can't get it up on my shoulders. But it's only because I squat first, right? Cardio after weights, yeah, there we go. I think cardio after weights is fine. I feel like my rep work is getting better on my benching in spite of training fasted and being on a cut, so I'll take that. I want to add in the split squat again, but I don't want to do 3 sets yet as the DOMs will be intense. Can I do? Yeah, of course. There's nothing wrong with doing 1 set when you add a new exercise in. It's fine. You can build it up. Yes, there's literally nothing wrong with that. So you don't want to get too bad at DOMs from adding too much of it at once. So we'll add 1 set. Perfectly fine. I don't see any problem with you doing that. And I think we have to approach a lot of our training with that. There's no need to ever really add huge amounts of volume just because, even I saw Greg Knuckles' big write-up the other day, and he did say that, he feels at about 25 sets, probably about the cap, and he wasn't going to grow from. But even realistically, you're only going to do that with 1 muscle, right? Maybe you have some weak point somewhere that you might do 20 plus sets. But no one who's training hard at all, with any degree of intensity, I'm not trying to come over to say because I just said training is not hard, but if you're training with any sort of effort, most people are not recovering from 20 plus sets of muscle group. They're just not. I'm saying that as someone who lives a lifestyle. I could probably do it if I scaled all this cardio back and wasn't in deficit, but I have essentially a perfect lifestyle. I'm in bed sleeping before the sun is down. All right. I do no recreational substances, no alcohol. I eat 0 refined food. Pounds and pounds of vegetables every day. So I could probably get away with it, but most people can't. Coach, what upper body part can take the most volume? I just hit back with 20 sets. I don't think it is a specific body part. I think we don't have good evidence for that. I see researchers and even evidence-based people talk about this, but we don't have any sort of hard studies on it. Although I'll say triceps can probably take a beating, And we base that based on the powerlifting observations from the powerlifting world. Because a lot of powerlifters and powerlifting coaches, especially due to the equipped era, pretty much train their triceps into the ground. coach is fortunate to be able to, I don't know if fortunate, that I built my life around it. Well, it's not fortunate, it's a choice, you know. It's just a choice. And that's what people don't understand with all this stuff. Now I get it. The only exceptions in some cases, things might be a little different if you have small kids and stuff, because then there's certain things. But even then, okay, you make the sacrifice to be a good parent and not abandon your children. You're still making a choice, right? Some guys can't make that choice, though, as they have to work long hours. Yeah. So, you know, there is that. But they can still structure the rest of their lifestyle around it. I get it, though. Other people, once you're married and have kids and stuff, yes, other people can influence that. But I think we also come back to, all right, guys aren't going to like this. You're serious about your health and fitness. Why are you guys getting with girls who are not? Why are you putting a ring on a finger of a woman who doesn't eat chicken and brown rice and go to the gym? And I think this is, you know, that is still a fitness topic. But why do people date people who they're not 100% compatible with and then expect it to work? All right. I have 4 young kids. I work 42 hours per week, spend time with the kids, and still find time to lift and do cardio multiple times. Oh, exactly. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. We were talking about the stress and recovery end. But even then, let's come over to that. A lot of guys do that successfully. Like, you're not the only guy out there doing that. You got to put some effort into time management. But that's a choice, right? And then the household has to be on board. And I think that's something that, you know, I tell younger guys, you know, when it comes to these things, if you're going to be fit and healthy, like, you know, why are you dating women who are not? Because she's hot? That's it? I mean, come on. I hope you're kidding. Like, so think about that from even a fitness and a lifestyle perspective. You're gonna pick the girl who drinks and doesn't work out because she's hot, instead of the girl who's a 5 or a 6 in your mind, at least, but she's a 10 in terms of lifestyle matching, and then expect to be happy. Well, there's a term for that. It's called being a fucking idiot. All right. Right, you're dumb is what you are. So again, so from a fitness perspective, this applies to men and women both. If you're serious about being fit and healthy, that is where your dating pool needs to be. It needs to be other fit and healthy people. Yeah, but you don't marry for lust, feed me. You bust a nut and you leave. All right. Okay. So, part of a fitness lifestyle is picking lifestyle compatible mates. I remember you doing a video that squats also do calves, right? Can you explain it again in like a minute? Okay. Yes. So walking trains your calves even, right? They're just not under a serious load. So look at the function of the calves. Your calves are used as one of the primary movers on a squat, a secondary primary mover, okay? right? Look at the movement. So I don't need to explain it. It's like, hey, it's like saying, you said the bench press is a tricep exercise. Could you explain it? Well, yes, it's one of the primary movers. So calves are used in the squat. Therefore, it's calf exercise. So also look at, and I'm not saying EMG is the be-all end-all for hypertrophy. So what happened when Contreras did all that EMG work and then he hooked electrodes up to the calves and did those different exercises? What did we find? In terms of EMG activity, the back squat beat most calf exercises for calves. So, yes, squats are a calf exercise. Best exercise for forearms, in your opinion? No, I don't necessarily think farmer's walks are the best. So if you're going to call farmer's walks and you're looking purely at grip, any exercise without straps to where you pull, I mean, it's going to give you the same. It's no different from a farmer's walk. So you can't say that the farmer's walk is better than a row or a pull-up or a deadlift, right? It trains the forearms in the exact same manner. On the barbell pullover, what grip? I don't know what grip is best for the barbell pullover. I have not even determined that. So, I mean, due to the nature of a barbell pullover, we could make a case for exactly shoulder width, right? So that 1-to-1 biochromium grip spacing, but I don't know that that's a fact. I find barbell pullovers problematic when I've messed with them so far a little bit. That may change. I may figure out how to work with them better. I just find any way I do them, they create a lot of inflammation near the elbow, like to the point where it's unbearable. It literally interferes with my training. I tried to do just slightly wider than shoulder width. I mean, does it feel right? That would be my qualifier. Does it feel correct? Then it's probably okay. Again, there's a lot of debates with different parts of the pullover. The main thing is, as long as you're getting a pullover in, you're getting benefits of pullovers. As long as you're getting them through your personal range of motion, they're going to be beneficial. I think maybe for me, because I'm just strong enough on them that my forearm tendons and stuff and overuse is high. Just can't take it. I'm going to work with them again later on. But I find the plates are fine too. Light dropped, appreciate it, Rupio. Yeah, I get a lat pump, not so much triceps. I get both. Coach, have you ever seen folks just genetically suck at squats? Have a buddy with long femurs, he can legit bench as much as... That's because they're lazy at it. He's really not putting in the effort. Because he's got the longer femurs and he's disadvantaged, he's demoralized when he does them. So it's a motivation. I will never buy genetics make you suck at a lift. No. Can you be disadvantaged leverage-wise genetically? Sure. But that's always a cop-out. It's not like he can't eventually get an elite squat. It just takes longer. I mean, example, Thor, half Thor, right? He has really long femurs. He still squats more than 100 kilos. Just fine. All right. Coach, he does not neglect legs either. But what's our definition of sucking at squats? But he needs to keep putting in the work and keep putting in the time. It's just that's straightforward. And he needs to learn the technique that works for him with those femurs. So just keep in mind, when we say long femurs, we mean femur to torso ratio. Okay. All right. The other thing, though, with those long femurs, he might find higher rep squats are problematic, so doing that 8 may be the problem. All right. Does he have legs, though? Does he have chicken legs? You say he doesn't neglect legs. So does it do his legs look like he lifts, though? So in that case, too, he may need to fill them out more. You know, so I'm going to look at it and say there's probably still something wrong with his training. You know. Because usually I find the guys who use a genetic cop-out is still lifestyle, is still training. They don't have lifts they're good at. You know. But even then, if he had just bad genetics for strength and muscle gains, he wouldn't have a good bench either. You know. Maybe he needs accessory work. All right. He is tall, but I suppose the legs need to, yeah. Yeah, his legs do look skinny, so he's just literally not doing enough leg work. Right? He's just not doing enough leg work. So he needs to get on top of that and fix that. All right? Mm-hmm. All right. That's my take on it. But I'm glad we're keeping these all on topic now. This is working really well. It's been getting rid of the nonsense. So, and the reason I'm doing that, guys, is just legitimately, if I don't discuss non-fitness topics, literally no one has any ammo to use against me or to create hate. And it makes my life easier, you know. Maybe, but yeah. In his case, probably needs other leg work added in. Or he just needs to keep putting in the time on squats. He might need just some better setups. Because if he's only doing squats, so if he's not doing other accessory work, how many sets of squats a week is he doing? That's also something we have to factor in. But again, he's got to just keep putting in the time. You know? I think he does 3x5 barbell squats, 3x12 hex squats plus leg extensions. Oh man. Well, I don't know. So we can't really cover all this because we don't know for sure what he does. Like you said, you think he does, but now we're down to exact. So how do we know that he's got a 100 for 8 if he only does 3x5s? So it's like, you see what I mean? There's some problems. This is all over the place. We need to get him in here so that he can tell us exactly what he does. All right. He tests his maxes every few months. Okay. Well, he needs to just keep putting in the work then. He just needs more time under the bar. He needs to eat, make some slow lean gains, and more time under the bar. And the legs will fill out, and the squat will go up. Oh, it's like me, I'm just going to do just squats for now for quads. I've did that before, though, and still got a 500 squat, so we have to keep that in mind. Or 230. Because if you guys remember the ice cream fitness days, I was training in that little shed when I was over in the UK. All I had was squats. And I still built big legs and got to a 230 kilo squat in that little shed. So it totally can be done. All right. But again, I always try to remind people, I'm not dogmatic in training. I have different training philosophies, but you have to run with the philosophy. And I think that's what people miss. If we're going to do basic barbell programming, do basic barbell programming. If we're going to run conjugate, run conjugate. I don't think we need to overlap our systems, and they can all work. But they all have to have, there's a mindset and philosophy built around the different approaches. But I kind of enjoy getting back to the basics again. Literally 3-day-a-week, full body, all basic movements. Unless we count the stuff like incline curls and whatever is not. But, you know, I'm only doing those because they're just so effective and they kind of fit with that old school mindset. Otherwise, a barbell curl is just fine. To be fair, though, I have a little bit of DOMS again today. I noticed a little bit. I've been noticing all the walking is giving me a little bit. So I feel a little bit in my right quad. My pecs and biceps have been getting DOMS, though. Hamash says, your current exercise selection is a masterpiece. The 3 isolations, incline curls, pullovers, and upright rows cover all the muscles neglected by those big compounds. Yeah. Those aren't really isolation, though, are they? Only the curls are. But yeah, that's the whole idea. All right, we come behind and we fill in all the gaps. You know, the only thing that might be neglected could, in theory, be my calves and hamstrings a little. But right now, I'm not that worried. Are you done with competing now? No, I never gave that impression. So feed me. I have made it extremely clear every day. I will compete again. All right? Probably after 50. However, I've also made it extremely clear I will not announce meets ahead of time. I will compete without any warning. So I need to make that as a big community post, because I say it every day. That's okay. You might miss some of the streams. Of course, there's a lot of them. All right, coach. As an advanced lifter, I do upper, lower. Yeah, I got to skip that, dude, because I can't walk slow enough with my cardio to read that something that long. Unfortunately, it's just too much. I got to break it up because I'm slow in my cadence trying to look at the phone that long. Let me pick my pace back up and then try. Like it's hurting my progress. Progress on compounds, working up to 3x8 and then add weights. The thing is to make sure you're not leaving a bunch of reps in the tank to do exactly 3x5s. So as long as they're really hard sets, that's fine. It's just called double progression. The waist is, well, as I do vacuums, that's what I tried to tell people before on that Hamash. No, feed me. Yes, feed me. I've said pretty much every single day that I will compete again eventually. I've said it every day for like 2 years. So I almost sound like a broken record. So yes, I will compete again. I don't know why anyone thinks my competition days are done. I've never indicated that they were. I've consistently said I'll compete again. I'll keep it private. So Hamash, yeah, I mean, I've tried to tell people that, and I don't know why, because people see where I store the body fat with the, that they somehow think I have a big waist underneath the body fat. I don't. I had a really, really small waist after I lost weight and got down to 170, before I got into lifting. Like I had like a 30-inch waist maybe. I was wearing blue jeans and stuff with a 30-inch waist and put a belt on to hold them up. So with big thighs though. So yeah, I don't have a big waist muscle-wise or structure-wise just because of the body fat still and the loose skin storing it there. So yeah, I mean the goal will be like a 30-inch waist when I trim down. No, it's okay, feed me. I probably get a little irritable with that because it just feels like a strange question when I kind of pretty much say every day that I will compete again eventually. And that's okay. Maybe you've missed it. It's fine. Maybe you missed it. But I do say it pretty much every single day, at least 2 or 3 times a day. So to me, that's kind of on par with asking, hey, Blaha, are you done deadlifting? It just seems like a weird question. No, it's all good. Don't worry. Feed me. It's early in the morning, too. Yeah, it is. It's 5:15 right now. Yeah. But yeah, no, the focus is to get the body weight way down, get the body fat way down, get really lean, and to go for that very much classic era type physique. That is the goal. But but those guys were all strong on the squat, bench, and deadlift. I will eventually compete again. But I try to keep a lot of my plans, anything not directly related to what people are going to see on the channel. I keep future plans very private, right? I'm not even close at all to the target weight. We're way far away. Right? Even if I were to keep losing at 2 pounds a week, which I'm not now, you're looking at like 10 more weeks. And I don't think that's doable. Now my target weight, I'm not even halfway there. So let's assume that high versus the low with the cut. I'm down 17. My target weight's 20 more. So we're not halfway there. We're not halfway there yet. But look at the difference already. So yeah, like it's not going to need to be there to see the dramatic. I think at 200, I'm going to already look dramatically different. And then we just keep chipping down. Thinking you were cutting very slowly, but I'm not cutting slowly. I'm cutting excruciatingly fast. Like, people are confusing water weight and fat loss cuts. I mean, many of the weeks I've dropped 2 pounds in a week, multiple weeks. That is a fast cut. So no, I'm not cutting slow. Cutting slow, like so. All right, you probably follow way too many guys on 3 grams of gear then. Think about a natural bodybuilder who actually wins bodybuilding shows, right? What do their cuts look like? Like maybe half a pound a week. Right, once they get fairly lean. So a lot of them will be 12 weeks out from a show and only lose 6 or 7 pounds of fat in that 12 weeks trimming. So no, I'm doing a fairly aggressive cut. About as aggressive as you can do without losing significant muscle. Yeah. So, keep in mind the first few weeks of this cut was 2 pounds a week. It's only slowed since I had bumped carbs up a little more and added the creatine, but now it's starting to whoosh back down. So we might literally see a big whoosh again at some point to where it puts me back into that range for the average. Right, but yeah, considering 17 pounds down while on high carbohydrate means there's been really no real water loss, right? Because I do like probably at least 400 grams of carbs a day. So I'm down 17 pounds on a high carbohydrate diet with a lot of electrolytes in it. So no, that's fairly aggressive. It's different when you factor in water. You know, people who are new to all this, they're like, oh, I lost 5 pounds in a week. I'm like, you lost a pound of fat. You lost 4 pounds of water. Because people don't understand how big of a deficit they need for 2 pounds of actual tissue loss a week. It's a big deficit. Right? For someone who's not carrying a lot of muscle with a high energy output, for a lot of times losing 2 pounds a week is like a 1,000 calorie diet or a 1,200 calorie diet for a man. Like when you get guys who are like, I have a 2,400 maintenance, which I can't even get my head around. They're pretty much have to starvation to lose 2 pounds of fat in a week. Good morning, Coach. I hit like, appreciate it, Carol. Of course, Carol dropped into Facebook yesterday before it cut out. All right, more you guys got to do that. He followed the instructions. I was like, guys, if the stream cuts out, I'm going to be in Facebook. And I did. And Carol showed up. All right. Come over to this side of the street. Yeah, appreciate it, Carol. The likes are always welcome. The views have been up and down in this one a little bit, but we've got pretty good engagements. It's also super early, so obviously. See how long I run this one out. I don't know. The main thing that gets me is that I always got to go to the bathroom eventually during these long walks. You know, the coffee kicks in again and we got to go to the toilet. I'm on super high fiber diet, so, you know. The waist is looking old school except for the loose skin. And loose skin is fat. People forget that. Loose skin is still fat. So as I burn that down, that should pull in. All right? How old are you? I'm 48. Be 49 towards the end of the year. All right. But yeah, I think once we get under 200 pounds on the cut, all that's going to look even better. Right? Because again, that's where I store my fat. So, and people have to remember how past lifestyle affects your fat storage patterns. So, and a lot of people, because they've never been around, they've never been obese, lost a lot of weight. So because wherever your loose skin is at is where you tend to store fat, because that's where the fat cells drifted to. They were all stuck to the skin. And so that area is going to tend to always hold more fat. So you're going to be disproportionate until you burn it off, right? So yeah, once that area gets leaner, my waist will be nice and small. So that's the point, Hamash. And when I lost weight originally, like I said, I had like a 30-inch waist before I took up lifting. Once I lost 150 pounds, feeling really fat. So I went from like a 45-inch waist to a 30-inch waist when I originally lost all that weight when I was young. So be curious how that affects my image when Coach is over here again with like a 30-inch waist and abs. I don't think haters will be able to handle that. What can be performed instead of closed grip bench in the ice cream fitness? I broke my forearm years ago and that angle hurts. You put dips or something in place of that, maybe. Can you do dips? Hey coach, was just wondering any advice on how I can avoid eating mindlessly when I'm working from home? Yeah, you could do fasting like I do, or you can keep high satiety snacks. So if you keep tons of vegetables or stuff just to munch on, so like those little mini peppers you see me do, I have one of my clients literally do that. So you see the little mini peppers I cook in my food, right? Because I assume you follow me on social media. The little mini peppers, stuff like that to snack on, celery, other vegetables to snack on, high satiety fruit, so that if you do need to mindlessly eat cantaloupe or watermelon or peppers or something like that. Dips to full lockout, almost cramps, the tricep long head. Yeah, they do, Hamash. So that's why I'm doing them that way now. So I'm trying to get the best of both worlds on those weighted dips, because I want the chest, so I do the forward lean and get that deep stretch at the bottom. But I'm trying to shift it into that movement pattern to where I go more upright at the top so I can get that tricep lock. But yeah, it works really well. Appreciate it. Thank you. You're welcome, leveling up. Benjamin says, for sports that require swinging, which upper body muscles be most beneficial to increasing power? Depends on the type of swing. How about you're going to need to build all of them? So let me ask you a question, Benjamin. Do you really want to disproportionately build anything? Since swinging is technically going to involve all the muscles of the shoulder, it's going to involve the pecs, it's going to involve the lats, you probably need to train everything. I'd start with something like different chest presses and pull-ups, bench pull-ups, stuff like that, right? We can definitely make a case for rows if we're looking for, sport-specific angles. But I don't think we have to always worry about those sport-specific angles, do we? We just need to build the muscles. Since when was swinging a sport? He said sports that involve swinging. I'm going to assume baseball, golf, tennis, all involve swinging. What's your opinion on men? Hey, Alan, is that fitness related? To enhance their, after they, what are we talking about, liposuction or whatever? I mean, I suppose. I don't have an opinion on it really. It's your body, do what you want with it. I mean, if dudes feel they need some lipo or whatever, that's their business. I would be worried about it detracting from training for a bit, though, if you're not careful. But I don't really have an opinion on that. I mean, one of my best bros got his eyelid done. Am I supposed to hate on my bro? Be like, you're not a man, you didn't like your droopy eyelid, and you went and got it tightened up. The doctor did a little minor surgery on it. He felt self-conscious about his eyelid being really droopy on one side. I don't really care. I don't have an opinion. It's your body, do whatever makes you happy. I would be more concerned with dudes who are worried about other dudes' cosmetic procedures more than anything, Like, really? I mean, now think about that. So there's where I would have an opinion. I would have a bigger opinion on the guys who care about another man's cosmetic procedures. Because you got to look at them and go, what's your own insecurity that you're standing around really particularly worried about what another man wants to do with a procedure? It's like there's some deficiency in his life. Does flat bench press work the upper pecs more than dips? I don't believe that it does. For cricket, you need strong core plus forearms plus shoulders. As long as you're not neglecting other stuff, Amash. Ever coached a cricketer coach? No, I've never met a cricketer. I've seen cricket. I've never met anyone who's playing. Oh, wait, no, I did. I had a former cricket player do a consult. I've written a couple programs for him over the years, but he doesn't do cricket anymore. No, I've never coached a cricketer. It's not that big of a sport, you know. The most common sport that people play that I coach outside of what we would think of as lifting or fighting sports is golf. Golf. Right? Especially Americans. Think about that for a moment, you know, my target demographic is going to play golf oftentimes. They're playing Major League Cricket in Dallas. Yeah, but I don't live in Dallas. I'm pretty far away from Dallas. So I'll put Texas in context for you. Dallas is one of the closer cities to me, yes. However, that would be like, let's say you're in London right now, right? And someone says, hey, they're doing something over here in Cardiff today. You're like, yeah, it's a pretty good distance away. I can't just get there in an hour. Hour by plane, like a flight, yeah, not in a car. Do you follow any sports? Women's figure skating. Right? Still on. Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, Carol, I shoot for 150. I probably go over. It's so hard to only eat 150 grams of protein, though. I mean, I'd almost have to go borderline vegan to pull it off. I mean, really. So it's like, I start running my numbers, and it's like, man, if I just ate 80 grams from Greek yogurt and no meat, I'd probably hit 150 grams of protein. All right. So I'm shooting for 150 roughly, but I know I'm going over. But I mean, that would be about ideal, you know. I am starting to fall back into that mindset of really, relative to pounds, probably about 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight, 0.4 grams of healthy fats, not a bunch of saturated fat, per pound of body weight, and just fill most of the rest with high quality carbs of whatever remaining you have left is probably about accurate. Yeah, you get half that, right? I mean, we could make that case too. For guys who are on just balanced whole food diets, let's come over that. Let's come to even less tracking. You drink 50 grams from protein shakes a day and you just eat a balanced whole food diet, you probably don't need to track protein at all. There's no way you're not getting enough for maximum muscle growth, right? As long as you're not completely vegan beyond those shakes. That would be basically be the easy insurance policy to never track protein for guys. You're not a vegan, you eat all whole foods, and you just do 2 scoops away or something today, you're going to be guaranteed to be in the clear. That's also a method. Carbs make you feel anabolic. Well, carbs are anabolic, right? Thoughts on fish as a primary? I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm the wrong person to ask about fish because of things we've discussed already. I can't eat fish, so, you know. And I'm not going to spend $50,000 on therapy to learn to eat fish without vomiting. So it's not worth it. So next. I think one of the best things about weight training is nutrient partitioning effect. Well, I don't know if that's one of the best. We can come up with 27 bests. That's one of the many. I mean, it's definitely one of many. I mean, I've seen experts make the case that the best is the bone density improvement. Like, you know, from a longevity perspective, that one actually, we could argue might be king. Hip fractures are a death sentence for anyone over 60. Like, you just got put on death row, pretty much. It's a death sentence. Do you get seasick? Yes. But I mean, yeah, nutrient partitioning definitely valuable. You know. Oh, we're past the first hour. Trucking along, doing our thing. It's come pretty far out here. And I wish there was sidewalk along this main street out here. I'd go walk down the road. The real road for the traffic, people would be honking. Women be catcalling. You travel overseas again? No, I don't plan on renewing my passport, Benjamin, at this point. And that is an off-topic. I can't be yelling like that. It's early in the morning. So, Benjamin, you were very close to losing your posting phenomenon. I'm not going to ban you over that, but no off-topic chats. We've discussed this, everything fitness at this point, and it needs to be. I've said why in a few streams. Only fitness. No, there's no gyms that I plan on visiting outside the U.S. All right, next. Has a woman ever pulled? No. Rufio, I know that you're British. Okay. I know you're British, so that's why you're asking that. American women do not chase the men. British women chase men. All right, back over to fitness. So, what's your view on just weight training and keeping low body fat just through diet without doing any cardio whatsoever? I don't think that's optimal for health. I think we should do a little cardio. Now, that being said, would that be the most effective method? Yeah, I mean, in theory, if your goal was only body composition, and I've even seen Alex Viada say this, who does a hybrid stuff. If your only goal is body composition, weight training would be your only activity that matters, right? Because if you remove all other physical activity besides weightlifting, you could do more lifting and recover from the lifting more. There's something to be said for that. But I'm going to argue that from a health perspective, doing some cardio is still a wise idea. But no, I mean, realistically, you could just do more lifting volume. You could literally come in and do jump volume, and it would actually be effective in that context. Aren't you worried about muscle wasting away from too much cardio? This doesn't seem to be affecting you. No, I mean, I might lose a little on the legs, but no, it's not going to waste away. So, Rufio, are we worried about losing muscle from calorie deficit? So we're asking the wrong questions. So let me spin it to you this way. So let's assume your maintenance without any cardio, let's just throw it out there, is 3,000 calories, right? And let's say you did no cardio and ate 2,000 calories to create a 1,000 calorie deficit. Or if you did 1,000 calories of less cardio worth a day and ate 3,000, which one is more likely to cause muscle loss? I think you're going to be at a slightly higher risk of what you called muscle wasting from the 2,000. Slightly. Because we're getting some potential benefits from the cardio in terms of recovery, but we're getting an extra 1,000 calories for more anabolic hormones, insulin response, nutrient partitioning. In theory, you're probably, if I were to spin it one way, I think you're slightly prone, very slightly prone to less muscle loss on that. So, meaning creating a calorie deficit through activity versus caloric restriction for the same amount of calorie restriction is probably slightly better for muscle retention. I'm not saying by a large margin, right? Now, definitely with the amount of ridiculous amounts of lifts I'm doing, my legs probably never really recover. So there is that with the squatting. But the upper body is doing perfectly. My upper body can't even tell I'm in a deficit. I've noticed that. Do you still believe that cardio is no? Well, Benjamin, here's my answer. I don't think we should be bulking. I don't think we should be gaining body fat generally on a bulk. So obviously my opinion will change because I don't think there's a need for us to gain fat. So here's the problem with the question. I don't promote people bulking and gaining fat, significant amounts of fat on a bulk anymore. If they made that choice, obviously adding extra cardio in would be really smart to stave off some of the negative health effects. But they shouldn't be doing it. If they really cared about their health, they wouldn't be gaining 10 or 15 pounds of fat on a bulk anyways. Right, I get it if you're talking from contest lean. Your legs will think a lot from a longevity perspective, right? Maybe. So Benjamin, there's nuance to that answer. Sure, if a person chooses to do a serious bulk like that where they're gaining significant body fat, I think I would still agree, but is it most important? No, because we shouldn't be doing it anyways. But I made that point because anytime you're gaining body fat, your health markers get worse. Right? That's another thing people are forgetting with all the bulking and cutting is usually when you're gaining body fat on a bulk, like those the bulks people do, your blood work looks way worse. Like our body is not healthy when it's gaining fat, unless we're coming from being emaciated. But a lot of these dudes who are doing this are not coming out of being 6% body fat. They're not shredded to the bone and then bulking. And that I get, you know, especially a drug-free guy. You can't stay there. But I think we have to have that other talk though about pro bodybuilders and body fat, and people are mistaking what they do with the bulking, right? You know, I get people who are like, but this pro bodybuilder, Ronnie Coleman, got fat. Did he? We seen Ronnie Coleman take shirt off or stuff in the off season. Was he ever fat by a normal person's perspective? Like anybody looking at him and thinking he's fat? And how much of that weight they're gaining is water from their drugs? You know? Coach, you're still alive. Yes, I am. We're still going. The buck 20 6-foot guys could benefit from a bulk. True. Our bodies need some fat. You know. You're a trooper. That's what we're doing, man. I broke 4 hours the last couple of off days, of non-training days. So yeah, we're still going. It's not even sun up yet. So that's crazy. But people forget that sometimes these pro bodybuilders, you know, who are shredded at contests, and you're seeing their off season. Okay, it's going to blow people's mind. Any of you think they're actually 20% body fat? Or are they doing huge amounts of wet drugs, insulin, all the growth hormone, and they're carrying 30 pounds of extra water weight? 18% is not optimal for health. I'm going to say no, don't go over 15. Optimal health, I'm going to say don't go over 15%, honestly. I'm going to agree with Mike Dulce on that, actually. Under 15% is probably optimal for men. There are some health negatives to going above that. What is your favorite training split? I don't know that I have a favorite training split. I'm one of the guys who is very difficult to pinch fat on, right? So, you know, yeah, but a lot of the bulking and cutting ideas have come out of the bodybuilding. But there's a lot of old school tradition. And I think people also forget when they hear about really old time bodybuilders or whatever bulking, they're forgetting, think about, we didn't have an obesity problem back then. So these people, you know, were just trying to gain weight in general to get bigger without fully understanding how much fat or whatever they needed to gain muscle. But keep in mind, people weren't fat back then. So, you know, their bulking up was usually just adding more dietary fat. They still weren't eating junk food, right? So you go back and look and it's like, oh, they were drinking all this milk or whatever, because that's all they had for high calorie foods. They realized it worked, and their idea was, well, it makes baby cows grow. You know, we'll just drink milk. 5'11", 180, not sure on body fat, but probably 14. All right, cool. There you go. Decent sized guy. All right. In real life, that's a decent sized guy, you know. The internet has its crazy standards, doesn't it? Sounds pretty lean, brother. Rufio's 5'10", but 205, okay. Do you know what your current body fat percent? I have no clue. I mean, you guys see me in nothing but a pair of shorts walking around. You guys could estimate, but I'm not good at that. All right. I would almost need to send my videos to some of my friends who are coaches who routinely have clients with DEXA scans who work with physique type people to even estimate. I have no clue. All right, Peppermint says, aiming to get to 190, but very slowly. And that's fair, you're 180 now. Go up to 190 over a couple years. Rufio says you'd be about 18 to 20. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you guys can, or feel free, your regulars, feel free to estimate my body fat. I really have no clue. I still think I'm bigger though than that last DEXA scan, but I'm 7 pounds lighter. So I can't be that high. I can't be as high as the last DEXA, right? Because I weigh 7 pounds less and I think I'm bigger and stronger. Definitely upper body is stronger. I can way out bench what I did then. Squatting I can't though, so that's the problem. I could probably deadlift as much. You know, I think I'm about 15, all right. Only issue with 15, that's the only thing that worries me. It means I've lost muscle since the last DEXA scan. If I'm 15, I've lost a couple pounds of muscle. Not a lot, just a couple, because I was 17 at 217. Now I'm 210. Yeah, I'm 16% right now, 165. Benjamin, is that off a DEXA scan? Sorry guys, I gotta clear my throat. Because you give a number like 16, that only a DEXA scan is going to get you that accurate. All right, not a bioimpedance, not a pinch. So always remember that. We start picking exact numbers, man, that's only a DEXA scan gets you there. But yeah, I'm terrible at guessing mine, but you could be right. I could be at 15. I don't know. It's hard to tell with the loose skin and the fat in it. That makes it very difficult. And I've had a number of coaches even say that too for me, that it makes it harder to estimate, just in general, for someone like me, until that gets tightened up. What do I estimate my fat-free mass? I don't know. I mean, probably 180. I mean, it was 181 pounds on the last DEXA, but we had exact measurements. I think it was 181 or something, or like what, at 180. Yeah, it's hard to tell for me because a lot of my fat is held inside. Well, inside loose skin, all held tightly. You know, yeah, so you have really tight skin then with it. So you've never been fat, have you, Peppermint? Peppermint's like, no, I've always been lean and skinny, that's why. Man, that helps with that. Even when I bulked to 195, I couldn't pinch much. Yeah, so you've never really been fat then, I guess. That makes a big difference on that, big time. Never been fat. I'd much rather be leaner with less muscle than bigger, but with more fat, you know. Man, I get regulars here on the other end. I get that one guy who posts all the time that a man shouldn't go under 16 or 15% body fat. I see him all the time, and he gives his stats, and I'm like, there's no way you're at the body fat you think you're at with your numbers, you know, because he'll put his squat, bench, deadlift, his height, and his weight, and he thinks he's 20% body fat, but he doesn't have like a 600-pound squat. It's like, no, dude, there's no way you're only 20%. But that's okay. But he's one of those guys who always posts in my comments under videos that a man should never go under 15%. You're just losing strength for abs. It's hilarious. But he's like 270 pounds or something with the sub 500 squat. So good bench though. I'd much rather be leaner with less muscle, yeah. I mean, we can always gain more muscle, and I think people have to remember that. But even then, you know, we've got to look at what is it that we're pursuing. If we're going to talk general fitness, guys don't necessarily have to be huge to have a great physique or to even be pretty strong. You just have to maximize the muscle you can while being lean. You know, and I think that's the interesting thing. When guys get really lean, as long as they have a good strength base and keep training, they can look incredible while still not being particularly big. And this point has to be made. All right? And if we're going to stand here, though, and claim that looks don't matter, I mean, that's kind of a problem we have, and I've been one of those who've said that. But really, we know that it does. You are going to be judged. People do notice your physique. They notice those things, right? Other men notice, women notice. So if we're going to pretend that it doesn't matter, then we wouldn't care about our action heroes or comic books or, you know. So I think that point has to be addressed even for other men. We are impressed by that. And it is important to look fit in terms of hierarchy and social hierarchy. So case in point, remember when the movie 300 came out and you got all the dudes, the Spartans are all lean and everything, all have abs with those, you know, loincloths on. We're not average dudes impressed. People treat you differently when you're lean. I'm big enough that I get a totally different treatment in general, just in clothes. But I mean, you are right. But in terms of everything, fitness matters. So looking fit matters. It'll affect business. It'll affect social stuff. It'll affect who dates you. Yeah. Good morning, Jason. About to hit some speed squats and deadlifts. Nice, Ryan. Get after it, brother. I'm over here almost an hour and a half of cardio before 6 a.m. That's what Coach is doing. So I've also got to get this phone on a charger. Once this is done, got to get some more coffee in and make another walk. I want to push this one long enough though that I want to always be past 3 hours on that second walk if at all possible, you know. All right, it's always a goal. I'll put up some pictures here later this morning on social media. So for those poses I did and then some of the low back fat I'll put up so people can see all that just in stills instead of the moving for the update on the cut. Fasted training and cardio is a game changer. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think particularly then for getting lean, because I have more body fat to lose than a lot of dudes. So think about what that will do for guys who are decently lean. Just the nutrient partitioning, I think, is really a game changer. All right, for just staying lean. It's definitely a game changer for staying lean. But we have to have that conversation too, you know. When it comes to a certain degree of leanness, and I'm not talking contest shredded, but being lean enough to have a full six-pack. Why do people consider it attractive? Because we know that it's healthy. We biologically know that that is a fitter person. Like we all know that higher body fat is not healthy, particularly in men. Women know it biologically with men. Right? We also know the ultra shredded is not healthy. So you really look at, that's a good video topic. Carol says 6'2", 225 natty possible. Dude, I mean, you could be 400 pounds and be natty. Dude, I saw this show called My 600 Pound Life. None of those people were on steroids. So you need to plug that into a fat-free mass index calculator for whatever body fat percentage you're looking for there. I don't have a calculator in front of me to answer, but you need to figure out what body fat percentage. Lean is not a number. So you need to go to a fat-free mass index calculator. I'm being serious, because I can't do the math for you. I can't break a calculator out without closing the stream. So I literally can't answer your question. Does that make sense? I have to close the stream out to answer your question. So I can't do that because I'm not holding two phones to look it up. So you're going to have to go to a fat-free mass index calculator yourself. Go to Google, type FFMI calculator, and plug some numbers around. Because I literally cannot do it in the stream without a second phone. And I'd have to stop walking. So if I go do it for you, the stream closes. All right. What will build hamstrings more, deadlifts or back extensions? Deadlifts. Deadlifts. Definitely the deadlifts. Is that even in question? All right. I think people truly discount the amount of muscle deadlifts can put on you. I think they way underestimate it. And it's only because of our fear of the fatigue that we can't do that much, but set per set, they do so much. Coach, I'm loving the vacuum that you've been doing. Yeah, I did a vacuum this morning too. I'm trying to do more of them when I have an empty stomach. So, and I think that's critical for what they do, because if you're practicing vacuums regularly, your gut's going to be held in all the time. And those old school bodybuilders knew that. All right, because you're training those muscles. So I think the pullovers plus the vacuums are really kind of one of the keys to that look those guys had. Sun is finally catching up to you, Coach. Is it true that wider stance squats work the inner thighs more? Yeah, a little bit. So the adductors, yeah. No, your adductors are not going to get too big. You get too much of that carrot-shaped quad from the rectus femoris, leg extensions, for example. You know. Yeah, you're not going to overdevelop your adductors without blasting a lot of gear. I wouldn't worry about it. Just squat, you'll be fine. Again, none of those silver or golden era guys had that problem, and a lot of them had elite squats. All right. Coach out here pounding the pavement 2 hours before sun is up. Well, not 2 hours, an hour and a half before sun is up. All right, because it's coming up now, and we're only an hour and a half in, but close enough for government work. All right, it's close enough. I'm walking back away from my house to make sure this one's long enough, because I don't feel the need to poop, so I think I'm good. All right. Actually curious how long I could do one of these though. I didn't need the bathroom. It's definitely going to eat my phone up, but you know, we'll get it back up charging. We judge roundup. Yeah, it's close enough. But at least we know we're getting the cardio done. Plus, the harder I go during the fasting, the more I can get away with eating, I feel like. It's kind of hard to eat enough clean food to hit too many calories, no matter how hard you try. I almost feel like I'm at a point where I don't really need to even count, as long as I stick to the crazy amount of whole foods and pound down huge amounts of fiber and nothing's refined. And I limit that feed window. Like, I'm in a good place. Carrot is the right word. So leg extensions contribute. Yeah, leg extensions. Anything that works the rectus femoris. So step back and think about, look at different exercises and look at how they function with that. So the more knee dominant, or basically you're trying to avoid stretching the rectus femoris. But if squat movements are all you do, it's not really a concern, right? Like front squats, back squats, it's not going to be a problem. You're not going to overdevelop that look, especially if you're squatting deep. So that's the main thing, deep, deep, deep squats. But also keep in mind, you know, again, they do lots and lots of extra leg work beyond their squatting. And I think that's one reason plus all the drugs. So that's why you see that disproportionate development, which again, if we're going to talk classic aesthetics, is not aesthetic. Right? Yeah. You know, they didn't overdevelop their legs. And I hate to say that as a guy who's pushed squats and leg training, but there's a point where you go, if you want an ideal physique, you need big legs. Let's be clear. You don't want to overdevelop them. But that's not happening on no gear or modest amounts anyways. But, you know, just skip the exercises that hit those things. All right? But if all you're doing for your quads or your thighs is squatting and deadlifting and some hip hinges, is really not a concern. This has been a Herculean live coach. Appreciate it, Rufio. It'd have been nice if we had more viewers, but well, there's no way to make the live last less than 5 more minutes at this point, unless it cuts out. So there's still time for more people. I'm several blocks from my house, that's why. I think I'm like a minimum of 5-minute walk to even get to my front door. YouTube has been YouTube's had its problems. And I don't know why it's done these different for me. For a while, it was really kicking my lives out. I think though, part of it, I think I overflooded their algorithm with too many informatives. So I feel like if I scale those back, those views will push up. All right. Remember these few weeks where you were, there was a little short phase where these were getting more. So, but you know, it's all good. Is it true that leg curls work the lower part of the hamstring more compared to what? I mean, yeah, versus a hip hinge, the proximal versus distal, because it's a biarticulated muscle. I'm just glad these lives have been largely troll-free. Yep. This one has been completely. Mainly because they realize I don't put up with them. I just get rid of them at this point. I have a zero tolerance policy. I just get rid of it. It helps. And I don't entertain them. They're not getting anything entertaining anyways, though. So notice when I keep everything on topic, it's going to be super boring. So, because keep in mind, those people watch all these lives later and they pick through every bit looking for juicy stuff. And so if they're getting hours of these with nothing juicy and it's only training stuff, they're not getting their mints. So, you know, there's nothing in there. If Blaha does nothing other than training and fitness related, they just, you know, all haters lose interest. Like, they're not getting anything out of it. Rufio, let's just not go there then. I just forget I said that word. All right, next. That makes sense, Coach. They shut off anything, yeah. So, and no one can criticize necessarily my fitness stuff, really. Other than what they disagree with my opinion on something they're training. Yeah, no. And then they get really bored. And most of them don't train. So, you know, there is that. There is that also. Imagine being such a loser to troll someone nonstop. Yep. No, I can't imagine it actually. That's why it's so ridiculous. But back over to real topics. So, fitness and training, guys. But back over to that point about vacuums, pullovers. I think that combination is a big part of how they got what they got. But I do need to be clear, you know, when we discuss not overdeveloping legs, we're not telling people not to squat. Because Arnold could squat 500 pounds straight up, right? We're not telling you not to squat. Reg Park supposedly had a 600-pound squat, what I heard, right? But what we're saying is you don't need to go overdevelop your legs in the pursuit of aesthetics. You can build those classic type physiques off of basically squats. Probably need some calf work though. I'll add some back in eventually. Just my concern is the fatigue management. Part of it is because I try to do walking live after I train, and if my workouts are getting too long from adding extra stuff, also I can't get the walking cardio in. But I may have to change some of that and work some calves and stuff in again. Right? Wouldn't be a bad thing. And then we go, okay, squats, deadlifts, and calf raises. Now we're doing pretty good on legs at that point. But it's totally possible to build, and you know, the classic physique off of literally nothing but squats, deadlifts, and calf raises for your legs. And have those aesthetics that they had. Right? But they also didn't overemphasize delts and traps, etc. either. I think pull-ups definitely also help. Because again, you want your V-taper as pronounced as possible without necessarily overdeveloping certain muscles. You know, I think we can make a strong case for that. Oh man. So there's definitely exercises. Let's give 3 exercises you absolutely need to do if you're pursuing the more classic look. Squats, pullovers, pull-ups, definitely up there. As long as you're doing supplemental lifts, can you still reach your strength standards just by doing 1 set? I mean, sure, you can feed me. Yeah. I don't think you need to only do 1 set though. But sure, can you? Yes. What do we still need to do? I mean, particularly stuff like benching does benefit from more practice. You know, just saying. Just saying. But then if we also talk overall development, you know, doing more sets of squats, even though we talk about axial fatigue, a lot of that axial fatigue helps build a lot of the muscles through your core and trunk. Arnold gave us the blueprint. Yeah. Arnold kind of did. Gave us a lot to work with. Oh. I like trying to get these as long as I can before the sun is up because I know I'm going to have a decent connection. I know I'm going to be able to see the screen. I know I won't have to rotate over to Facebook, you know. Just that Arnold did too much stuff, really. He way overtrained. But I think people also forget, you know, Arnold's off-season was different than his in-season. All that crazy volume he did was the peak for shows, right? And he also upped his drugs. He didn't train like that in the off-season. I think he had whatever that old Golden 7 he put out. I don't remember what the exact lifts were. He's like, you totally build your base off these movements. Right? He did. He basically said he built going into winning all that little Mr. Europe stuff as a teenager. He only did like 7 exercises. What? That's good. I remember you saying if you're doing 1 set on squats or deadlifts, you can go harder on that set. But you don't necessarily, I mean, unless you go to failure. So feed me, I'm doing 3 sets to failure on squats. So I'm not necessarily going harder because I'm not holding back. So we have a tendency to hold back doing multiple sets, but if you take them to failure, you're done. But it's a mental thing. Juggernaut Fitness TV, I haven't used that name in over a decade. That's been a long, long time, brother. All right, just Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness since I got my check mark. It's been 8 or 9 years at least. It's been a bit. A little more views in here now, though. Jason, have you tried the original Jack? No. Someone sent me a tub I never opened. I don't believe in pre-workouts, though. I think you guys know I'm anti-pre-workout. I have been forever, especially after the studies came out. Reg Park or Steve Reeves. If you're going to make me pick, I prefer Reg Park. But I mean, let's come back over to that whole point. What about the leg press? The leg press is a good exercise. I prescribe leg press for my powerlifters, but let's come back over. For what purpose? I mean, it's for a classic physique, you could literally build all your legs off of squats and be fine. I was anti-pre-workout even before I know your content because I felt like it. And yeah, it should be common sense. You know, it's not like you're going to make more gains from taking them. It's just you enjoy being stemmed out. You enjoy being high. You probably are a potential drug addict. Right? I admit I'm a fiend for energy drinks. My pre-workout is lifting a lighter weight. I just drink black coffee. I just drink black coffee. It's all I train on. I do all my lifting, all my cardio on nothing but black coffee in the morning. No food. Right. Man, we made it all the way to sunup. Remember, the start of the stream, it was pitch black. No one could even see my face. Yep. Well, Jason, I'm about to do a lower workout, so I'll see you soon. Yeah, take care, brother. Appreciate you dropping through. Appreciate you dropping through. Man, we've done 103 minutes so far on this walk. Again, the main trick is I got to always keep it on low battery mode and then throw it on the charger the second I get in so that I can get my next walks done. What time did you start? I think at 4:33 in the morning. I was up having my first cup of coffee at 4 a.m., getting a little work done. I have caffeine sometimes on days out, sometimes cappuccino, but I drink tea most days. Y'all are Brits, so I know y'all drink your tea. Oh, you want a hot drink with that, love? Well, that's a nice cup there, that is. That's a lovely bit. See, I can sound British. Well, you got a license for that, mate. I was joking with somebody I'm close to yesterday about the whole license thing. But that would stay on topic. Fitness, because it is technically caffeine, and we were talking caffeine, but back over to real topics. All right. So, all right. Need that British accent more often, coach. Oh man. Well, they lived there for 3 years. Americans have a completely different viewpoint of it, though. They have no clue. Yeah, but I'm not going to go into all that. It's too much in people's non-fitness. All I'm going to say is all my bros in real life are convinced that British people all speak extremely proper and they don't use any profanity, and that they call a penis a tallywhacker. Like, and I've had to try to explain to them, it's not even remotely close. You're actually a funny dude. Not many people realize this. I'm like that in real life all the time. Do you think Kevin Leverone should have won an Olympia? No. I think all those physiques, I don't think any of those guys from those eras should have even placed. I don't think any of them should have even gotten a pro card. They're disgusting and hideous. But to quote Dorian Yates told you why Kevin Leverone never won. What did Dorian Yates say? Dorian Yates said Kevin Leverone had all the genetic in the world to win the Olympia and to be better than Dorian was. But as he said it, Kevin Leverone was so insanely lazy that he could never win no matter how good his genetics were, because he was just basically lazy. Those are what Dorian said. It's like he said that probably the most genetically gifted guy of that era could have been the Mr. Olympia if he actually wasn't a pussy and wasn't afraid to train. Squat efforting versus John Hagman, I don't know. I don't have any numbers in front of me. I can't go look them up. It closes the stream. If Nick Walker ever wins an Olympia, he should close the competition. The fact that he's even a pro, that hideous physique, tells you everything you need to know about modern bodybuilding. Death cult. He shouldn't be placing anywhere at all. He shouldn't even have a pro card. If bodybuilding held to its ideals, the IFBB held to the ideals that it proclaims, he should not have a pro card. All right? Yeah, Dorian said that. But it's true. I mean, if you go off of what Kevin Leverone says about his own training, would we not conclude that he was insanely lazy? He is literally at a level of laziness of the average person who can't get in shape. But massive amounts of drugs and ridiculous genetics prove that a person can basically not even care about lifting and still place second in the Olympia. He literally sounds like the average person who doesn't even get in shape with his approach to training, right? If you guys remember, what was it? I take a full 12 weeks off from lifting every year, and I don't go in the gym and I don't touch a weight, and I just work on other stuff that fulfills my life, like music. While he's trying to win the Mr. Olympia, Kevin Leverone admitted between Olympias he literally took 12 weeks every year of just completely off from all bodybuilding, going to a gym or touching a weight. 12 weeks straight every year. Every year. Right? Prime Sean Ray versus Prime Franco Columbu. I don't know, I'm still going Franco Columbu. I take 52 weeks off a year. Well, Mike, this may not be the right channel for you. Nick Walker's estimated Nick Walker won't make it to 40. How old is he now? What's Nick Walker's current age? Because I want to say he might not make it to 30, but he might be 30 already. Context, Dallas McCarver didn't make it to 30. Yeah, exactly. Mike, this is not the right place for you, unfortunately. Although maybe the good habits will rub off on him. Coach called all of those guys. I called their deaths. So I'm surprised Nick Walker's made it to his early 30s, if he's early 30s. But he hasn't been that big that long, so Boston Lee didn't make it to 30. No, they did not. Why you think Coach is out here doing hours of fasted cardio and eating a super clean diet, focusing on my health? All right, too many of my contemporaries even didn't make it. Too many of them didn't make it. Right? Health is wealth, my friends. You know, that's why I've kind of said, I think at this point, Chris Jones and I are going to be the last guys standing, because Chris takes his health stuff pretty serious too. Like we talk. He cares. He cared a lot about his health. From that generation, we're going to be the last men standing from YouTube. Rufio, why are you going off topic? You know people have alarms and start vehicles. All right. What is your first? I don't have any tattoos. I've chosen not to get any. I've had exes who wanted me to get them. I had a not so long ago ex who really wanted me to get some, but you know. But I've chosen not to. I don't think I'm going to get any. Scooby's from the previous generation though, but he was always health oriented, right? Scooby is from the generation before us. So we're talking our generation was more reckless. There was way more drug abuse, more reckless behavior, more drinking, more recreational drug use. I think he might be slightly older. No, Scooby's like 60, yeah. Scooby was like the generation before us. He was on YouTube 5-6 years before all of us, so I'm talking my group. Talking about Jerry, yeah, Jerry's dead. Isn't Scooby? Yeah, Scooby's older. Scooby's probably like 60. And he's still up there making stuff. Yes, I saw him on Facebook the other day. He comes through my Facebook feed. You know? Scooby's still alive and kicking. Good on you for not getting tattoos. Mike Shang, six-pack shortcuts, right? Man, Mike Shang. His ads, we all made so much money off Mike's ads though, because his stuff rolled in all of our videos. So we all got paid because of that man. Why are you asking a non-fitness related question? Hey, Toothless, you're getting banned. You guys know the rules. Fitness only topics. You've asked multiple non-fitness, you're out. As we say in Britain, those young lads don't have a Scooby. I don't know what that means. All right. Translate that British into English for us, please. Oh wait, I banned the wrong guy. Oops. Unhide user. It's kind of hard to do sometimes. Let's get rid of Toothless. I unbanned. Sorry, John, I unbanned you. That means they don't have a clue. Hey, John, I apologize. I reached up. I was able to unban you. You should still be able to post. I hit the wrong guy when I banned somehow. All right. But we got rid of the Toothless guy. Whatever, he's gone. Fitness only, guys. What's your opinion on John Skywalker? I don't have an opinion on John Skywalker. I don't know enough about. I remember he's some lean guy who got sick or some drugs or something. That's all I know. That's my entire opinion. So you can't ask me of will he make it. Isn't he like some tall lean guy, had some health issues or something from party drugs or something, and he's an influencer? That is my entire knowledge of him. I gave you my entire opinion. That is everything I know about him in one sentence. Would you count dips as full sets for front delts? I don't know about that. I don't think dips work the delts that effectively in general, even the front delts.